Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. It is 9/11. By the way, if you want to give us a call, it's 844-551-8255. You remember what you were doing on this day years ago, right? 2001, when the World Trade Center was attacked and brought down by two planes, when the Pentagon was attacked. You remember this, right? The planes that were in the air, a plot against America by radical Muslims. By the way, these plots are being done all day, every day. Thankfully, you're not hearing a lot about Muslim attackers, radical Islamists these days, because we are whooping that head. That's why you're not hearing a lot about ISIS. Trust me, the media wants to give you some news about ISIS. And on this day of all days, 9/11, the day that, quite frankly, was 9/11 was an amazing day in a bad way. I know where I was, and most of you know where you were. It's one of those days that's emblazoned in our memories. I sat atop the 37-story building in Dallas, Texas, and I was on the 34th floor. And one of my friends comes in and says that the World Trade Center, a plane flew into the World Trade Center. And I was thinking, whoa, wow, there's a pilot that, won't have his job. But that was both ways, right? He would have been fired. But if he flew his plane into the World Trade Center, he really made a big mistake. And I was thinking, aircraft, what do they call them? Air traffic control. You're just trying to figure out that just doesn't happen. And then he ran in again and said, a second plane has done it. I was like, whoa. Now we got a problem. And sure enough, then they started evacuating our building, etc. I go down to the elevator, into the parking garage, get into my car, and I head up 75 Central Expressway in Dallas, Texas. I'm phoning home, and I'm learning that they're pulling my kids out of school, etc. They're considering it a terror attack, and the rest, as you know, was history. And then came 9/12. And it was the proudest day. I can honestly tell you this. In my adult life, this was the proudest day for me as an American, because everybody, including these wretched leftists, put their partisan BS aside, and we became one America for that moment. And if I could when I think about this show, when I think about you, I think about that moment, because we sit around here, we fight with these bonehead, brain dead, moronic leftists all the time, and I think to myself, what did it take to bring them together? To bring them to our side of thinking, where we could talk about make America great again or America first. It took a terrorist bombing of two beautiful buildings in New York City where over 3,000 people were killed for the left to go, you know what? Those guys on the other side have a point. We've always had a point. And so when I think about strategies, it's like, how do you get these people back without having to have horrible things happen? So I talked earlier about Hurricane Harvey, when Jennifer Lawrence, that was a girl's name, I couldn't remember at the time, but this stupid actress whose best friend is Amy Schumer, another anti-American anarchist that hates, or I should say, at least hates conservatives, doesn't hate government. But she says that the reason why we are getting these storms is because of Donald Trump. Now, I want you to understand, look, you're an actress, chick. I don't know who you are. Walking down the street before the first movie she ever made, nobody knew nor cared about this girl except a very few people that knew her. So suddenly she's now telling us that the wrath of a hurricane is because of Donald Trump. What is she, a meteorologist, a psychic? What? Tell me what her experience level is to say something so stupid. And you know what? People are listening. The good news is people are now listening differently. See, we got people now starting to shift back. The tragedy of Harvey and what's also happening with Irma. And I'm not just talking about in the United States, folks, because I would ask Jennifer Lawrence, well, then why did that hurricane, why did it go beat up on the Bahamas? You know, why is it beating up on all these other islands that have nothing to do with Donald Trump? Well, it's because Trump because it makes no sense. And she can't even stop for a second to say, you know what? This is a tragedy. I don't need to be beating up on Trump. Same with Alyssa Milano. National Day of A-holes. You have people all over this country telling you, because you voted for Donald Trump or you now support him, that you're an a-hole. Where's that 9/12 feeling, folks? You going to feel it tomorrow? You think the left's going to feel it tomorrow? Are they going to remember that day? Let me tell you something. They don't even remember this day. They don't understand what brought it on any more than they understand that the reason why Kim Jong-un is blowing up nuclear bombs underground and creating 6.2 earthquakes is because of Bill Clinton. They don't understand that the reason why Iran is the number one state sponsor of terror in the world is because of Barack Obama. Or Jimmy Carter, take your pick. They're interchangeable, except for their color. Folks, I'm just telling you, 9/11 should, at this time of the year, you would think we'd have an anniversary that would go, you know what? I'm back to being pro-America. It used to be the 4th of July, a.k.a. Independence Day. The left like to call it the 4th of July because for them, it's just a day off. For you, it's an important thing. It's about the independence of this country. It's about why people shed blood for you to have the liberties that you have. And you know what? The left, they squander those liberties and they want to take away yours because they're stupid. I feel sorry for them because, you know, quite frankly, when I tell you guys all the time, none of us, people listening to my voice, for the most part, you don't know. You can live your life and not even worry about them. You could move to some island where nobody bothers you and nobody gives a crap. But you fight not for yourselves. You fight for your kids. You fight for posterity because you say to yourself, I don't want to leave this world to a bunch of people like this. I don't want my kids to be left with this. I know that's what gets me up in the morning because let me tell you, it would be easy to say, I don't even have to pay attention to these fools. The Robert De Niro's and the Jennifer Lawrence's and the Alyssa Milano's and the Mark Garofalo's and or Roffalos or whatever their names are. They are destructive, hateful people who believe you're the ones with the problem. John Legend. Let's not call them illegals. Let's call them dreamers and lovers. Really? John, how about you worry about the dreamers in this country that you've destroyed the dreams of? We'll be back.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.